Namaste, this is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today's the 24th of June, 2014. The following is the Vedic Astrology reading for Kasem, based on the 27th of April, 1932, 5:30 a.m. in Detroit, Michigan. So Kasem just passed away on June 15th at the age of 82. He was an American disc jockey, a music historian, radio personality. He was a voice actor and a movie actor. He ran the American Top 40 radio show from 1970 till his retirement in 2009. He was also the voice of Shaggy Rogers in the Scooby-Doo franchise from 1969 to 1997 and from 2002 to 2009. He's had 2 marriages and 4 children. Now, using systems approach to interpreting horoscopes, we see that in the first house we have the first sign, Aries, ascending at 10 degrees with Sun at 14 degrees. This is called an exalted Sun in the first house in the sign of Aries. This gives a lot of leadership. This is a very powerful position. When Sun is in the first house, the person can rise very high in life. In the second house, he had the second sign, Taurus, with Venus. And Venus gives sweet speech in the second house of speech. Third house, Gemini. Fourth house, Cancer, with an exalted Jupiter in the fourth house. Jupiter for this chart rules the ninth house of divine grace and good fortune, and it's sitting in the house of parents. Jupiter's exalted in the sign of Cancer, and so it's ruled by the moon over here, moon in Capricorn, opposite Jupiter. In the fifth house, Leo. Sixth house, Virgo, with Ketu, the southern node of the moon, in Virgo. In the seventh house, Libra. Eighth house, Scorpio. Ninth house, Sagittarius. 10th house, Capricorn, with Saturn in Capricorn and Moon in Capricorn. In the 11th house, we have Aquarius. 12th house, we have Pisces, with Mars, Mercury, and Rahu in Pisces. Now, according to systems approach to interpreting horoscopes, the favorable planets for Aries include Mars ruling the chart, Moon ruling the fourth house, Sun ruling the fifth house, Venus ruling the seventh house, Jupiter ruling the ninth house, and Saturn ruling the 11th house. These 6 planets will never cause harm, but if any of them are weak, afflicted, debilitated, or badly placed, they should be strengthened to add protective covering to life. We do say that Rahu, the northern node of the moon, and Ketu, the southern node of the moon, which are mathematical ecliptic points in the zodiac, we say they are functional malefics for every rising sign, and they cause harm if they are within 5 degrees of the ascendant degree, the most effective point, or within 5 degrees of other planets by conjunction or aspect. Rahu aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away. Ketu aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away. But notice that Rahu is 8 degrees, almost 9 degrees from the rising sign degree, and so is Ketu. So they are not on the most effective point. So they are not afflicting the houses they occupy and the houses they aspect. Rahu is 19 degrees from Mercury, causing no trouble, and 23 degrees from Mars, causing no trouble. Rahu's influence 5 houses away is 18 degrees from Jupiter, causing no trouble. Ketu is its 5th aspect is 9 degrees from Saturn, 9 degrees from Moon, no problem, and 27 degrees from Ketu. It aspects 9 houses away. So what I'm saying is that Rahu and Ketu are benign in this chart, causing no damage, but Ketu in the 6th house of health issues can cause hidden or misdiagnosed health issues. Rahu in the 12th house can cause some ambition and desires relative to foreign lands. His parents were from Lebanon, and he was very proactive with Arab and Lebanon affairs. So we see that Sun is extremely well placed. It is ruled by, in Aries, exalted, ruled by Mars, which is in the 12th house. So Mars becomes weak and it rules the chart. And Mars is 4 degrees from Mercury, and Mercury for this chart is a malefic. So I said Sun, Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn are the functional benefic planets. Will never cause harm. But you always have to look at the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses. If they contain Multicone signs, then the rulers become functional malefics. So the 12th house is not a Multicone sign, and Scorpio is not a Multicone sign. Pisces is not a Multicone sign. But Virgo is the Multicone sign for Mercury. So Mercury becomes a first-rate functional malefic planet for Aries. And this Mercury is within 5 degrees of Mars, so it causes affliction to Mars. And Mercury rules the 6th house of health issues. So he died from some serious health issues. And Mercury afflicts Mars, and Mercury has to do with litigation and disputes, which are going on over his will and his property, all that type of thing. Something I wanted to point out is look at this Saturn-Mars conjunction. See, in classical Jyotish, maybe even in Western astrology, people would say, oh, Saturn is a malefic planet, and it's really causing harm to Moon because it's an exact conjunction with Moon. But see, under systems approach, we say, no, the Multicone sign for Saturn is Aquarius, falling in a favorable house. The Multicone sign for Moon falls in the 4th house of favorable house. So these two are both functional benefic planets, and benefic planets can be together with no harm. And what we see is that Saturn ruling the 11th house of income and gains is in the 10th house of career, where it becomes a Panch Mahapurush Yoga, one of the 5 great yogas. This one's called Sasha Yoga. But it's leading the masses. And he ran this incredible radio show for many, many years, this American Top 40. Look at this, for 39 years. And Moon is what? It's the public and entertainment, hospitality. So he gained income through the public, leading the masses, blue-collar persons, working-class persons, even senior citizens would flock and listen to his radio shows. By the way, when Moon and Jupiter are both benefics and in kendras from each other, this can be considered the Gaja Kasari Yoga. Gaja is the elephant, Kasari is the lion, the symbol of aristocracy. So he had quite a bit of royalty. He had 2 wives. Venus, which is wife, is at 29 degrees old age and weak. And Venus rules the 7th house of marriage. So it's weak in old age. So he would need to wear a diamond gemstone to strengthen Venus for marriage. And partnerships, relationships, or joint ventures, there was always some contention or some disputes in those things. So he had to work quite hard to keep relationships on track. Moon rules the 4th house of home life, and it's in the 10th house of career. He probably spent more time in his career than he did at home. Now let's take a look over at the transit chart. This is Aries, where the planets are currently. But what happened here is that he is Aries, ruled by Mars. Mars rules his health, and Mercury rules his health. Mercury rules his 6th house of health. Mercury's in the 12th house of losses, and it's debilitated, so he didn't keep good health. Nowadays, even 82 is considered a little bit on the young side. Mars in the 12th house of losses and hospitalization. Mercury ruling health in its debilitation sign in Pisces in the 12th house, so it weakens the health. And look what happened here. He was doing fine. Let's see if we can go over and find this in a better place here. So he was doing fine through his career. Moon was his birth main period ruler. Then he ran 7 years of Mars, 18 years of Rahu. See, right here is right in the 60s is when he became successful. He was in Jupiter. Jupiter's a planet of luck and good fortune, and it rules the 9th house of Dharma and good fortune. And I say that it has a positive influence See, Moon is actually, Jupiter is in a house that's under the positive influence of Moon, because see, Moon's close to the rising sign degree. So it's giving a very positive influence here on top of Jupiter. That causes a Gajasara Yoga. And Saturn is also aspecting this house. They're both at 11 degrees. Saturn brings gains, so it brought a lot of gains to him, again, through the public and leading the masses during his 16 years of Jupiter. And look at even his 19 years of Saturn are fine. Saturn is not a malefic, will never cause a dreaded sati sati. It's a great planet for him. But here's when the wheels started to come off. In 2001, he went into Mercury. Mercury is not a favorable planet for him. It's a malefic planet, functional malefic planet, ruling the house of health, financial issues, litigation, disputes, enemies. Current subperiod has been Jupiter, which is favorable. But I think what happened here is we go look at these transits. Mars rules this chart. Back in December, Mars came into the 6th house. And usually it's only here for 30, 40 days, 45 days, something like that. But it was there for December, January, February, March. It came out, but then it went back in here. But basically since December, it's been in that 6th house. December, January, February, March, April, May, and June. And he died, I think, around June 15th here. Look at this transit chart. And he died on June 15th. So the inner chart is the birth chart, the outer chart is the transit chart. This is the birth chart, and here's the transit degrees. So what happened was this Mars, ruling the chart, is sitting down here in this 6th house of health issues. And look at this, it was at 19 degrees, opposite Mercury at 21 degrees. And this was this long, prolonged duration, since 6 months of Mars being in the house of health issues. So he just couldn't withstand that. And when it first got in here, it went over K2 under the influence of Rahu. And then when it gets up around 16, 17, 18 degrees, it comes under the influence of Mercury, ruling health issues. And there it is. So Mars was at 19 degrees on the day he passed away. So he was a good man. He's very entertaining, and this is a very dynamic chart. We say Aries is a very dynamic rising sign. That sun in the 1st house made him a king. But it was all a house of cards because Mars is in the 12th house and Mercury's debilitated. But these other planets, Sun, Jupiter, Moon, and Saturn, really carried his chart right here. These here. Okay, these are the main points. I hope this is helpful. Namaste.